Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to round out the Lost Origins set with one of the powerhouses from this particular format. It's Mew VMAX, and I have a couple of reasons for looking at this deck last. First of all, it is probably the easiest deck that will be in the top couple of tiers in the Silver Tempest format. There are only a couple of changes you need to make this list a hyper-competitive one. We'll talk about those in just a second. But also, we have the brand new Mew VMAX League battle decks, which have just been released, which you can very easily turn into this particular list. As long as you have an extra copy or two of Genesect, Mew, and Mew VMAX, you will probably have all of the cards that you need to put this deck together. You'll probably be looking at a tier 1 or 1.5 list for about 50 or 60 bucks, depending on how much you are missing from your private collection. Let's talk about why the deck is so good. It's obviously because of Mew VMAX. The Fusion Strike Pokemon VMAX with 310 HP is the biggest card of the last 4 sets or so. It has persistently been in Tier 1 or 2 since it was released in Fusion Strike, and it's because of its Cross-Fusion Strike ability. Essentially what that does for 2 colorless energy, it allows you to copy any attack from your Fusion Strike Pokemon that you have on the field. That means you can copy attacks from Meloetta, you can copy attacks from Genesect V, or you can even copy attacks from Oricorio and Mew V if you would like. That is very, very strong because Genesect and Meloetta have very, very powerful attacks, but don't necessarily have a huge amount of HP, so you can put the Mew VMAX in the active, attack with that instead. Maybe you don't get knocked out and you get the chance to use those attackers again. Genesect V has the attack Technoblast for 2 metal and a colorless. It deals 210 damage. Obviously, you don't need the energy cost on the Mew to get that attack off. 210 doesn't seem like that big of a deal from our Genesect V, but when you consider the fact that we have cards like Choice Belt and also the Power Tablet from Fusion Strike, we can get ourselves to a very, very high number. Choice Belt adds an extra 30, Power Tablet adds an extra 30 every time we play it. So definitely a good little combo. It's not unreasonable to see Technoblast dealing 240 or even 270 damage every single time you use it. So that's very, very good, but it's not the only thing that is good for Genesect. Its Fusion Strike system ability is arguably the reason that this deck works. It states that for every single Fusion Strike Pokemon that you have on your bench, you may draw a card up until you have that many cards in your hand. So, for example, if I have 5 Fusion Strike Pokemon on the bench, and I have a hand full of 0, I can draw up to 5 cards. That is incredibly strong, and when you consider the fact that we have lots of other turbo options in the deck, like Ultra Ball and Quick Ball to thin our deck out, we have Cram-O-Matic to discard trainers and flip coins to search for specific cards, it is very easy to find specific things with Fusion Strike system when you want to find them. On top of that, we also have a hyper powerful one prize Pokemon in Meloetta. It's a 90 HP basic Fusion Strike Pokemon with Melodious Echo for a Psychic and a colorless energy. It deals 70 damage times the amount of Fusion Strike energies that we have in play. That means if we have all 4 of our Fusion Strike energies in play, we'll be dealing 280 damage out of a 1 prize attacker, which is very, very high. Adding onto that our Choice Belt and our Power Tablet, and it is theoretically possible to knock out every single card in the standard format right now, and that is a really, really good thing for this deck to be able to offer. And just in case you didn't think that we had enough going for us, Oricorio, another Fusion Strike Pokemon with 90 HP. Its attack, Glistening Droplets, is kind of useful. The ability to place damage counters is pretty good. You can place up to 5, which is very, very nice. But it's in the deck for its ability, Lesson in Zeal. Essentially reduces the amount of damage that every Pokemon in this deck, since they're all Fusion Strike Pokemon, it reduces the amount of damage that they take by 20, which means that our Mew VMAX effectively has 330 HP. Not only can it deal a massive amount of damage, but it's also theoretically one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game as well. One last thing, Echoing Horn, a card that I would 100% recommend if you are playing Mew, especially in the early phases of Silver Tempest. I'm expecting to see a lot of Arceus and Duraludon, that's why I made the deck profile on Monday. If we have Arceus Duraludon matchups, then Echoing Horn is really important in order to get an extra 2 prizes onto the field. It's very useful in a lot of other matchups, but I think that Echoing Horn is probably one of those cards that you will see being included quite frequently. Now, obviously, this is but one list, and I mentioned that there might be a couple of cards coming in. There is an Earth Tablet, whose name I have completely forgotten. It's a card that I would 100% recommend that you include, effectively giving any of your Pokemon V in play a V-Star power to search out any one card. That is going to make Mew VMAX a Tier 1 deck, in my opinion. I think it's very, very strong, and considering it's going to be so cheap to build, thanks for the V-Battle decks, I think that this should be the #1 deck for any new player in Standard for Silver Tempest. What we're going to do is we're going to take this one out onto the Standard ladder and see if we can't get a couple of games. If we can win some with Mew, well, I mean, I'd be satisfied. We should win. It's really good. We're going first here in Game 1, and I think we've got an okay start. It's not ideal. I mean, we've got an Ultra Ball and we've got a Cram-O-Matic, so we've got a couple of cards that we can play. Let's play the Quick Ball first. I'm going to get rid of the Roxanne. I don't think we need it. I'll play down the Mew. That will allow us to thin our hand from a few cards here. We'll play down the Choice Belt, the double Turbo Energy. We can play down the Lost City if we want to, and we can also Cram-O-Matic and flip a coin. Maybe we should have held on to the Choice Belt so that we didn't have to worry about switching here. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably not a bad idea, but we're going to flip the coin regardless. If we hit heads, we're in a good spot. Cram-O-Matic. What a card. Alright, we're drawing 2. We're going to draw the Battle VIP Pass anyway. We didn't draw it. Oh my goodness. Okay, well. I was saying that this was a good deck, right? I did mention that. I did mention it. Every now and then, this can happen. It's my fault. I hyped it up. I should never have done that. I should never have said the deck was going to be Tier 1. It's one of those things, unfortunately, that you can have these kind of starts, and it's especially frustrating when you end up with supporters in your hand. 2 Elisa's Sparkle seems like 2 cards that would be very, very good to have, but unfortunately we are not in a spot where they're particularly useful. Our opponent's going to Mani us. Probably not their preferred option either, but we now have a slightly better chance of being able to do something. In fact, it's a much higher than slightly better chance now. We can actually guarantee that we'll get at least 1 prize this turn. We've got Escape Rope and Ultra Ball. There's that Battle VIP Pass, just to prove a point that we were very close, but not close enough. Our opponent's going to throw the Sobble into the active thanks to that Escape Rope. Let's throw down our Ultra Ball here. We're going to go searching for a Pokemon. It's a toss-up between Genesect and Mew VMAX. We'll go for the Jenny so that we can draw some more. And then Fusion Strike System for 3. If we can set a board up here, I'd be very, very happy. At the moment, with this hand, we can probably draw a couple more cards. I like the idea of playing Cram-O-Matic. I don't know whether I want to get rid of the Lost Vacuum, though. Palpad also a very important card. We actually need to make a decision about which of these important one-of cards we want to keep. Palpad will get us back to Roxanne. I think we probably lose that, though. A Path to the Peak is much more crippling than playing a Roxanne ourselves, so I would prefer to do that. And we've actually been given a heads here, so we can go and grab any card that we like. I think that the best option is a Mew VMAX, although to be fair, a Quick Ball could also have been good. I do like the Mew VMAX, though. It at least guarantees that we'll get a knockout this turn. A single prize is better than none. Okay, this hand is not a hand that I'm necessarily happy with, but I like the fact that we are able to cross Fusion Strike here. We'll have to go for the Techno Blast. We knock out the Sobble, and because of Lost City, it gets sent straight to the Lost Zone, which I am very happy about. Talking about good one-offs, Echoing Horn coming down might actually be quite useful in this matchup, because Arceus can be a little bit tanky. We don't want to have to deal with a couple of Arceus V-Stars in a row. It'll be very, very hard for us to KO. We'll need to instead try and go around them big charm coming down on the Arceus. That is, of course, a very large issue for us. I think what we need to do... I think we need to set up a board, first of all, because we don't currently have one. But I think the biggest thing for us is we want to make sure that we at least have access to cards in a thin deck in the mid to late game. So we are probably going to take a couple of prizes in the coming turns. We may even go down to 3 prizes next turn. And the last thing I want is to be Roxanne and then placed under Path to the Peak lock. Stopping our abilities would be very, very frustrating. Our opponent just retreating into a Manaphy here. So they're accepting that they are happy to lose a prize. We also actually can't take a KO at the moment, because we will need to retreat with our Mew, because that is the text on Genesect V's attack. If we're trying to what's it called, turbo thingamajig, whatever it is. I mean, if we're going to try and use that attack, then we need to make sure that we retreat every turn so that we can get the attack going again, because we're not allowed to attack after we've used it. I think I've made my point. I think you all understand what's going on. Also, as you watch this, we are less than 1 day away from Pokemon TCG Live updating to the brand new Silver Tempest format. If you are the type of person who is very, very keen to play day one, then I would 100% recommend that you jump on in ASAP. I think that this set is going to be very exciting. I love the concepts that Silver Tempest brings with us, and I love the fact that we've found a boss's orders. Now, the issue, as I mentioned, is going to be we do need to find access to a switching card, so I'm going to Quick Ball here. We'll get rid of the Elisa to grab another Genesect. We could theoretically boss's orders this turn. Right now, play the card and risk not getting the retreat. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring this Arceus active. It probably makes it difficult for our opponent to get out of the active anyway. This hand is looking very enticing. I'm going to cram away the Quick Ball. If we flip heads, we get it. Why would we ever get what we want? Okay, Cross Fusion Strike for 3, 2, no? Maybe one more? Do we have one more? I don't know that we have any more. I think we're out. We may have missed out on an opportunity here, guys. Problems. What do we do now? I think it's fine to just end the turn like this. It's a little bit awkward for our opponent. They have to use a switching card to get into the active. They have the V-Star ability from Arceus, but they probably don't want to search for a switch. They probably want to search for like a supporter and the DTE instead. So at least we force them to find that card. But yeah, not Mew's strongest turn. Not Mew's strongest game so far. We've had a slow start and we've missed a knockout there. But that's okay. We're gonna persist. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it together. Oh god, I spent so much time. I spent 7 minutes in the intro. I talked about how good the deck was for 7 minutes. And here we are, game 1. Fumbling our way through. Desperately trying to get anything to happen. Maybe I should start recording the intros at the end, once the games are done. I don't know. Also, as I was mentioning, because the new Silver Tempest is only a couple of days away, I am going to be putting out a few extra videos over the weekend to try and satiate your rogue deck hunger. We'll try and get a few out on those days when normally I wouldn't put a video out. The second that those cards are live, I will make sure that I have a video for you, whether that's Thursday my time or Friday my time. I'm thinking it might be Friday, I'm not entirely sure. As soon as I get them, I will have a crack at making something for you, and we will have videos over the weekend, so there'll be an extra 2, maybe even an extra 3 videos coming up from the brand new set release, which I'm very excited about. Hopefully it's not too hard to get cards. Pokemon TCG Live makes it very easy to get cards, because I have about 300,000 credits that I can spend. I think I should probably be fine. I don't see myself ever needing any more than I currently have. And I'm going to be opening codes. I have like a big old stack right here. I'm not going to flip them around, obviously, because I don't want any robots to take them. But I've got a big stack of them. from pre-release. Managed to swindle a few, buy a few. Managed to get ourselves a couple, so we'll see whether we can get something to happen here. I don't like this at all. I don't like the fact that we need to play a stadium down to remove the Lake Acuity. It's reducing the amount of damage that Arceus is taking. I don't like the fact that I'm going to need to remove a boss probably from my hand. I'm going to draw a few cards here. This is still kind of grim, but at least now we have a couple of attackers to work with. I can quick ball now away the Battle Pass if I want, which is pretty good. But the issue is actually that we're an attack behind because we missed the KO. And we're going to use a lot of resources here just to get ourselves an attack off. So we'll Power Tablet. We will then use another Genesect Fusion Strike system. Draw another 3 cards. We find another Power Tablet. We've played 2 at the moment. We're doing 210, 230, 240, sorry, with Choice Belt. 270, 300, minus 20 from the DTE. We should be okay to hold on to this. Elisa's Sparkle is actually a really good card to get there. We're going to try and set ourselves up as best we can to have 4 Fusion Strike Energy in play next turn. If we can do that, then we'll be in a good position to try and get a KO on that benched Arceus. Maybe that's the way that we salvage a victory here. So we will cross Fusion Strike, we will Techno Blast, or Melodious Echo. To be fair, they both deal the same amount of damage, except Melodious Echo doesn't have the downside. We'll take 2 prizes on an Arceus and put ourselves into the incredibly risky Roxanne turn. A Roxanne path from our opponent would be devastating. At least it's as difficult as possible for our opponent to get it. They have already used Starbirth. They've got their Shady Dealings Inteleon in play, and they don't have another Drizzile. So that is good. In saying that, Evo Incense will find another Drizzile here. So I shouldn't have said anything again. I should have just kept myself zipped. To be fair though, Roxanne is not that big of a deal. The big card is Path to the Peak. If Roxanne and Path are played in combination off of this Arceus, off of this Roxanne, sorry, then we are in really, really big problems. So we'll wait and see Shady Dealings from our opponent. If Roxanne is in the deck, then it will be grabbed from this Drizzile 100%. If we see any other card, I think we might be safe. But I think that this is going to be for Roxanne. And that makes our life a little bit more difficult, because 310 damage is hard to hit. We've got the Power Tablet in hand at the moment. A Scoop Up now is not a Roxanne. Okay. We might be in. We might be in for a shot. We might be in for a shot here. Okay, alrighty. Let's not go crazy. Let's not put the horse in front of the egg. Avery's really quite bad. Oh god. Wish I'd attacked with another Pokemon. I guess it's just 2 Genesects, right? It has to just be 2 Genesects. That's a little frustrating. But our hand with Oricorio and Chronomantic. Oh my god, that's the God of War. Oh my god, I didn't factor that in. I didn't factor it in. I figured we'd be fine. Oh no. Don't play the Lake Acuity as well. That means I need to find even more. Path to the Peak. Maybe Roxanne was in hand the whole time. It wasn't. Alright. We had a slow start. We've fought our way back into this game. Now, we are in need of 2 cards. Count them 2. To get ourselves a KO. One of them is a Fusion Strike Energy. We might be able to get that off of a Cramomatic flip. We'll probably get rid of the Battle VIP pass. That will deal 280 into the Arceus, plus 30 from the Power Tablet. Gardevoir only reduces damage on these from memory, but it doesn't matter, because Path to the Peak's in play, so a head flips on this Cram will get us this KO. Come on. It's got to be in the deck. Come on, it's got to be in the deck. Gimme. It's there, okay. I think the correct card to grab is Elisa's Sparkle. This way we thin out 2 bad cards from our deck. We don't want either of them there. We obviously want the Fusion Strike Energy in play, so I will use Elisa's Sparkle to attach that to Oricorio. Then we can retreat into the Meloetta. We're dealing 280 at the moment. The power tablet in our hand should be enough. So we'll play that down. We won't remove the stadium. Instead, we will Melodious Echo for 310 damage, leaving a single prize in the active, taking 2 prizes ourselves. We are still at risk of being Roxanne. We don't know whether our opponent has the card or not. We're assuming that they don't. I'm going to make it look like I have a dead hand, right? I don't have access to a way to replace the path. Otherwise, I would have last turn. So maybe they don't play it if they do have it. Maybe they were holding it. But you have to assume that they would have got it last turn and played it. They had the path. You have to assume that if they had access, they would have gotten it from the deck. So I have to assume that it's in the prize cards, which puts us in a position where we must take a KO in the coming turn, and luckily we have the boss's orders in hand to guarantee us the win. Since we are so many prizes in front, we have 1 prize left to take. A single boss's orders will win us the game here. So I am hopeful. No Marnie, no Roxanne, simply a knockout with the Arceus V-Star, and we will win. Trinity Nova into the Meloetta means that we are set. There's no way that our opponent can come back from this. We have Mew VMAX to throw in the active. It's powered up. We have Genesect on the bench. We have Boss's Orders in the hand. We can gust out any one of our opponent's Pokemon and take the KO. Manaphy into the active. We cross Fusion Strike. We make sure that we click the right attack in Techno Blast, and we find our way into a winning position out of an incredibly slow start. Like I said, the deck's pretty good. Another game now. We'll see whether or not we can get ourselves a faster start than our last one. I don't want to lie to you. This hand's looking okay, but not great. I don't know what we're playing against yet, but it's probably looking like it's going to be something like maybe a Palkia. Palkia is a very strong deck. I think it might fall off a little bit in Silver Tempest. I think Palkia goes down to tier 1.5. Lugia has a little bit of a better matchup. That is a Palkia. Doesn't necessarily mean that we are playing a Palkia deck. And I tell you what, this Elisa Sparkle just turned our hand into an absolutely cracked one, because we have Escape Rope, we have Quick Ball, we have 2 cards that we can just discard. In Switch Card, I think is 1, maybe Boss, maybe Double Turbo. We can grab ourselves a Meloetta here, and this turn suddenly becomes incredibly impressive. Let's Quick Ball again. We're going to get rid of, I think, the Boss or the DTE. Boss seems like the most reasonable card to get rid of here. We can attach a DTE, which I like, but I want to hold on to the bosses, maybe, if I can. I think, no, we'll get rid of it. We got plenty of them. We can get rid of that. We can grab ourselves a Mew V. The reason that we're going to do that is because it means that we can be as efficient as possible with our placement of the rest of our cards and try and give us a better chance to hit a big bench in the coming turns. Now, we can throw down the Fusion Strike energies on both Meloetta and Mew. Then we can Escape Rope. Also, the Double Turbo energy means that we're guaranteed to at least be able to attack with Meloetta this turn. We won't need to draw into a Fusion Strike energy. That's obviously a really good thing. Palkia into the active is a bit of a risk. We're going to draw before we attach. If we find a Fusion Strike energy, we can just effectively win this game here. We've got 2 Pokemon off of that Fusion Strike, so let's grab another few. Cram-O-Matic maybe can get us a knockout here. If we go for like the Lost Vacuum, we'll Cram-O-Matic that away. If we flip heads, we can maybe just get the cards. No, okay, well, we're going to try and draw some more then. We can't draw anymore. We've lost all of our Fusion Strike systems. We've used them all. Little red arrow is very, very handy. We'll just have to hit into this Palkia. Very sad. If we were able to get that extra Fusion Strike energy, we might have been able to steal a KO on that Palkia here. Create a situation where it's a little bit more difficult for our opponent to win the game. In fact, I'd say it's almost impossible from that point. Now, the situation is different, obviously. The game is different, so now the situation's different. It means that they're going to be able to set up a Palkia VMAX, V-Star, this turn. They could theoretically gust and knock out the Mew V with the energy. If that's what they want to do, they can do that. Don't know that it's necessarily the best play that they have, but they have a massive hand, so it's definitely possible. I think the most likely case, though, is a big knockout on this Meloetta, removing some energy from play, but more importantly, taking the first prize of the game. That'll set them up for a nice 2 knockout matchup. They can knock out a Mew VMAX and knock out a Genesect and win the game from there. We go 2 prizes in front, though, or 1 prize in front next turn, assuming that we get a Mew VMAX. It's actually going to be very close. Us missing that knockout is going to create a very interesting situation here. Quick Ball going for a Sobble, so it is a straight Palkia deck. I was worried for a bit that it was going to be Kyurem, which could theoretically knock us out in one hit a little bit more comfortably. So I'm glad to say that that's not the card that we're seeing here. And glad to see that our opponent is using Star Portal on their active Pokemon here. They haven't attached an energy from hand, and they've only got 2 in the discard pile. So, there you go. We are going to be seeing manual attachments from Palkia for the rest of the game. Luckily, finding 1 for the benched Palkia, though. So, they've at least got access to that. Alright, we'll throw the Mew into the active. We've got the Mew with no energy up there for the moment, just slightly more convenient. There are no Pokemon in our opponent's discard pile, so that makes our lives a little bit more difficult. We're just going to draw 2 cards here. A Leon off of the top deck is a very interesting card. I don't think we're going to play it, but I like the idea of it. I like holding it. I like holding that. That's the type of card where we can maybe steal a knockout on a 280 HP Palkia that our opponent's not expecting later in the game. In saying that, though, we probably don't need it. We'll get rid of it. If we do need it, we can always Power Pad it back in. We will evolve into our friend Mew VMAX here, promote that into the active, and then use our final Fusion Strike system to draw 3 cards. VIP Battle Pass is completely worthless. That's not the VIP Battle Pass. That would have been incredibly embarrassing. I'm glad that I caught that before I clicked the button. What's the best card? I think Genesect's probably fine. I was eyeing up Oricorio. I don't think that we need it. In fact, it opens up lines for them to make plays that I don't want them to do. I think this is actually better, and I think it's probably worth it. Now they've got the boss's orders, is it worth just gusting the Palkia and knocking that out on the bench? We know that we can get a KO on the active at any point. I think we can guarantee a knockout here on the benched Palkia, Power Tablet that away, and this makes our life a little bit easier when we are trying to get KOs later in this game. So we'll Techno Blast, 240 damage, knock out the Palkia that was on the bench, and now we're in a very powerful spot where we can theoretically knock out our opponent's only attacker in play with a single attack and go from there. We also get the Cram and the Battle Pass off of the prizes, which means that we have a free discard next turn at the very least. I think we're in a very strong spot. I like the fact that we've been able to set our board up so swiftly, and this is the thing, right? This is what Mew does so well. It's very consistent at doing exactly what it needs to do, and it will outspeed a lot of decks in Standard at the moment. It does, of course, struggle with Roxanne Path, so if you're expecting that, Roxanne Path is an option. There's also a Drapion that effectively auto-wins that matchup too, so maybe there's a couple of hard counters to Mew. Maybe it's not perfect, but the fact that it's still so strong, even with 2 very specific hard counters, I think, is a massive plus for the deck. Like, there's literally 2 things that you can do to win, just to pretty much automatically win, and it's still good enough to beat it. So, definitely don't sleep on Mew VMAX at all. And I would also say, I think you probably need to play the Fusion Strike variant in the Silver Tempest format. Don't get sucked into just playing the Double Turbo one, because you're probably not going to have enough energy, you're probably not going to have enough power. You should probably be playing, if you're going to play it, let's play this one. That's what I would do, that's what I'm currently doing. Not that I want to, big myself up, but I think it's probably worth it. Okay, so, we are moving forward with our lives. We do need a switch. I would love to get a knockout this turn. I would love to avoid being knocked out this turn as well. Let's play Cram, see if we can flip heads. We can't. It's impossible tonight. It's very, very difficult to flip heads. Okay, what cards have we used? We've used a couple of boss, we've used the Leon. I don't know that we're ever going to need the Echoing Horn. We've already got the extra prizes in play, so we might be able to cram that away. Or we could Ultra Ball away the Cram and the Echoing Horn and go from there. I think we go for the Cram-O-Matic and we get rid of the Power Tablet. hear me out. We don't actually need it to win the game. So can we flip a heads, please? Please? Can we flip a heads? Fusion Strike System for 2? 3? Sorry, 3 Pokemon in play. Okay. Choice Belt. We've got Genesect here. This is going to be very awkward. We'll Choice Belt the benched Mew and then Genesect for 3. A Mew VMAX is good. We still don't have a copy of Energy yet. We have 2 more Genesects, as denoted by the lack of red triangles. We're going to get rid of the Quick Ball. We're going to get rid of the Boss. Our opponent will probably need to attack with a Palkia in order to win this game, which means they're going to put it into the active. We have so many cards, but not so many energy. I'm going to draw 4 cards off of this Genesect here, Fusion Strike System for 4. I'm going to save that Power Tablet. We still don't have any energy. We have a Cram again. Can we flip heads maybe this time? No? Okay. Alright. Oh, I guess we Ultra Ball. Thin the hand. We can get rid of the Mew. We can get rid of the... Oh, this is such a hard choice. I like the tablet to knock out the Palkia V-Star. I like the horn, though. I think we need to get rid of the horn. I think we just need to take the knockout on the next active. But to be brutally honest, we have to take a knockout now, and it's on these 5 cards from Fusion Strike System. We do find the DTE. Okay, we're there. We've got the KO. We can retreat into that Mew VMAX. We can throw down a Lost City. And then, do we play the Power Pad now or later? I like the idea of the Power Pad. We have 9 cards left in deck. We will need a Boss, or I think the Leon is actually going to be very, very strong here. Just looking at those cards that we've used. We've used a couple of Power Tablets already. I think I'm going to hold the Power Pad now. And we are going to simply Techno Blast for the knockout. We may have been able to actually take a knockout with another card there, but another attacker there, but that's okay. And yeah, we're going to try our best to get a KO this turn with the Mew VMAX on the bench. Now, the situation is a little bit sketchy. If our opponent takes a KO on that Mew VMAX on the bench, then we are 20 damage short, but we keep the Choice Belt in play, which means that we are 30 damage in front. So overall, if you did a small amount of maths in high school, that means we are plus 10 damage. We're doing 220. If our opponent has 280 HP, which they do, because of that fancy Palkia V-Star promo, then we're doing 220. We need an extra 2 modifiers, I think it is. 2 modifiers. So we need a Power Tablet to go from 220 to 250. And then we also need another modifier to go to 280. That's where Leon could come in. It's where a potential 2nd or 3rd Power Tablet could come in. I don't know how many we have left. I have forgotten. I think that we are going to be searching a little bit here. The worst thing, as usual, is going to be the Roxanne Path. If we get Roxanne Pathed, then we just simply need to draw out of it. And this is where that Earth Stone is going to be really, really strong. Just imagine this exact board state, except 1 or 2 of our Genesects have a card that says, search for an out to Path of the Peak. Can you imagine how powerful this deck would be? I'm genuinely frightened of it, how good it is. It looks like the Roxanne is in the deck this time, so we will be shuffled down to 2. The question is, can our opponent find a copy of Path? If they can, we may struggle. We do not currently have an out to Path. So if we had that stone, then we might have been able to play it. There's a cross switcher, so they will knock out the Mew VMAX on the bench. If they don't play Path, we have 2 cards in our hand that we can just chuck straight onto the field and start drawing cards. Subspace Swell for knockout is not a Path to the Peak, so we have a chance. We 100% have a chance to win this game. And we need 2 modifiers to get there. Let's see if we can do it. We top deck a Lost City. Okay, so if we were under path, we would have drawn out of it. We would have been lucky, but we would have drawn out of it. Fusion Strike System for 5. We don't want to play Roxanne. We do want to play Power Tablet. So I think we need to Ultra Ball away Oricorio, Roxanne, or Lost City here. We can attach an energy. We can play the Ultra Ball. We need to keep the Power Tablet because we're going to be using that. Let's get rid of Oricorio. Let's get rid of Lost City. We'll chuck those cards out and see what we have in the deck. There are 7 cards here. One of them is a Power Pad. One of them is a Power Tablet. So, let's see how we go. We are going to Power Tablet. I think we actually guarantee the game here because we have the Roxanne, so we could just play it. There is the Power Tablet. We're going to see if we could have got the Leon as well. We're going to chuck that back in the deck and see how close we could have gotten. We have the Power Tablet. We'll play that. We can't play any extra cards. We will draw 2 out of 3. There's the Leon. We play the Leon. It's as simple as that. And I think now we're in a position where we just cross Fusion Strike and we deal a very, very large 310 HP. So even if our opponent had been able to bulk themselves up by using a Big Charm, we would have been able to get out of that, and it would have been just so much easier if the new set was out, which you should check out as soon as you see the video. Hopefully it's live for you relatively soon. Do you get it live for you? Because it's Pokemon Live. It's the game that I'm... Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you coming past. If you haven't already, you're probably the type of person that likes this kind of stuff, so like the video. That would be sweet. The more likes, the better. It promotes the video to people, I assume. I have no idea how YouTube works anymore. Also, subscribe if you would like, and if you want to join the lovely people on this side of the screen, become a channel member, then chuck in $1 down below. There's a button that says join. Just click it. It's like $3 a month to become a member, $5 to get yourself on the screen. If you want to pay more, you can. If you don't want to pay anything, then don't. I'm not your dad, unless something really strange has happened. Also, click on this video. Just bloody give it a crack. Go back and look at some Lost Origin stuff, and make sure you check back very, very soon for Silver Tempest on PTCG Live. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Bye.